Welcome back to WRPL, it's the podcast where we talk about all the things we are watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name is Ben.
And I'm Steve.
What's up, Steve?
Not much, buddy. I'm tired, and I work soon, and I'm ready to go.
We got hours before you're back on the clock, so let's start with a roll.
Oh, yeah, we're going digital this time.
Yeah. I rolled, ticket, 18. I'm not lying, it's on the screen.
Did you roll with advantage?
Steve, all right, you're going to roll. Ticket, 19.
Oh,
computer
excellent.
loves us. Kind of cheap, but hey, when we're in,
I feel like we should do something if we ever get 2 nat 20s.
we've talked about it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what we decided we were gonna do, but if we both got ones, we have to end the podcast.
Yeah.
Then it's done forever. two 20s. I don't know.
Boys trip to Vegas.
Okay, that sounds fair.
All right.
And that seems logical.
Yeah, for sure.
And feasible. All right, so today's episode we're going to talk about Saturday Night, the biography, not the biography, but the first night of the first episode and the 90 minutes leading up to it, and all the chaos.
Of Saturday Night Live.
Yes, of Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
I got a couple of things. You got a thing. So I got a bunch of things, and I know you don't really care about most of it, and we did talk a little bit because we saw Saturday Night together.
Just hit me with them, Ben. What you got?
Okay, well, these two, I'll give you a choice of what you want to listen to.
Okay.
Right? Because I don't really have to talk about either one. But The Platform 2
Okay.
or Hold Your Breath.
I'll hear about Hold Your Breath because I imagine Platform 2. I didn't see Platform 1. It's on my to watch list.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, you really liked Platform 1?
I liked Platform 1 and I liked Platform 2.
Okay.
But
I imagine it's more the same.
it is more the same, and surprise, surprise, it's a prequel, which I would have picked up on if I had rewatched the first one earlier, because people show up and like, wait, that guy died. Why is he here? Oh, this is a prequel. I thought because of the events of 1, this is why we're doing the things of 2. Nope, this is just what happened earlier. And it's
Gotcha.
pretty good, but like Platform 1, it gets more into metaphor at the end, and it's not exactly like this actually happened. This is how you interpret it, and I don't want that.
Gotcha.
I want more clear-cut rules. But all in all, good. But Hold Your Breath. Not really to talk much about, but it's the Sarah Paulson movie. It's on Hulu. It's during the Dust Bowl. Her and her 2 daughters are waiting for her husband to come back from like the Philadelphia area because he had to go out there for work. There's nothing going on. There's no crops. They have a cow that they're trying to keep alive because the milk is kind of sustaining them. And there is rumors that there's this lone drifter walking through the town. And I say town, but it's like this is a house and nothing for miles. And then there's another house and nothing for miles. And they travel between it and they talk with their neighbors. And I don't know, it seems a waste of time since they got nothing going on. But there's a rumor that there's this stranger going from house to house and like killing the occupants, and there the rumor with the kids are it's the gray man. He lives in the dust. He could turn into dust, and because it's the dust bowl, everybody has to like stuff their windows with cloth. The dust is just getting in. It's on everything. Don't breathe it in, and people are having health issues. And the littlest daughter, she's mute, so they sign, and she's scared. She sees the dust man or the gray man. And it's
Ryan Gosling.
no, it's Evan Mossback.
Oh, okay.
So he shows up and he's like, hey, he was like hiding in their barn and like, I'm a preacher and I could lay hands on you and heal you because the older daughter is coughing up blood. And so he does that and he's a good guy. Cool. I could heal your cow. It's, not producing as much, yada, yada. Well, he's a bad guy, and he actually found the husband in Philly, like stole his coat that had like the letter for home, so he knew, these women are going to be by themselves. I can go and do my naughty stuff. But is he a supernatural being? Is he a dust man? Is he living in the dust?
All we are is dust in the wind.
It's actually Sarah Paulson is just she sleepwalks, and she's gone a little crazy because one of her daughters has died, early, and the trauma from that, and not having her husband, and she's gone off the deep end. So she's kind of been doing fucked up stuff, or at least she's not going around killing people,
Okay.
but she's waking up in the middle of the night and has their gun on the daughter, thinking it's the gray man, but it's her daughter, and it's fine. It's nothing special. But I'm trying to watch as many spooky things as I can.
'Tis the season.
Yeah, this one is a pass. Platform 2, I'd say, is a watch if you give a shit. Hold Your Breath is a pass. There was another Hulu Halloween movie called Mr. Crocket, and that is more like a Pee-wee's Pee-wee's Playhouse sort of character, or a Mr. Rogers character, but like really zany characters, bright, colorful, singing songs about love and everything. But he's coming out of the TV and he's killing the parents of, bad parents who are abusive to their children. And it has like really cool practical props. Like, he turns a chair into like a chair monster with teeth and big googly eyeballs. Nice. And it's a lot of the practical stuff is really cool looking, and Mr. Crockett is pretty creepy. But this, I was really disappointed with this one as well. I knew the plot. After, our main character, her son gets taken, which, according to his rules, he takes children of bad parents. She was a good parent because she just lost her husband, and the kid is just acting up. Like, he didn't even want to go to the funeral. He wants to play his Game Gear. It takes place in the 90s. Okay. And is just a little shit. And he's watching this Mr. Crocket video over and over and over again.
Murders the parents, the police come, the child's missing because the child's been sucked into this TV show.
Yeah, he's in the Mr. Crocket dimension. Yeah.
Okay. So in this universe, is Mr. Crocket like an actual show?
It was
a
show
on,
yeah,
and now it has become something else?
Yeah, but all the police go, nope, the parents went crazy and did something with the kid and we can't find it, and then killed themselves.
Okay.
So, but she, does her investigation, finds someone who believes her, and it turns out Mr. Crocket, he was a crazy person, and he kidnapped children back in the day, had a police standoff, and was killed, then turned into a ghost that haunts.
Yeah.
And then, but when he was killed, and the little boy that they saved, he's older now, and he's the person that believes the mom. And he's like, oh, I want to get back here. Mr. Crocket was the only one that ever believed in me, so he's crazy too. And they get sucked into the Crocket dimension, and it's all crazy, horrific things. It just wasn't very good. I saw that twist coming a mile away, so I was not very invested. But I'd say visually, it's got some good gore, good practical effects. A lot of the monsters were created by an artist named Alex Pardee, who I love his artwork. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bunny With. It was like he drew a bunny. It's like a bunny with a street cone, and the street cone is like on his head. Like bunny with horrible mutations, and he's all crazy mutated.
Okay.
Bunny with no eyes. But he has a lot of horrific, but kind of like cutesy, gross stuff. So the effects are really cool and really inventive, and the story is a fun idea. I just don't think they nailed it. Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah. So
would you say it's better than Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yes, but it did give me that
the same vibe.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
If you really love Five Nights at Freddy's, you'll probably like this. This is a step up. Once you're a teenager and you're watching that and you want something a little more hardcore, move up to this.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. What do you got?
Once again, not much. I reading a book, playing some stuff. Haven't gotten through them.
Still working on Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah, I haven't played in a minute, but I'm at I can't remember if I told you. I'm at the last boss of chapter 5 out of 6, and the guy just keeps whooping my ass.
What weird animal thing is he?
It just kind of looks like a devil.
Oh, okay.
Like a standard, like all red, like kind of skeleton face with horns, but he's got these like. Who's that Mortal Kombat character that has the blades coming out of the elbows?
Baraka. Oh wait, out of the elbows or out of the forearms?
I guess it's forearms.
Baraka.
Yeah, he kind of has those, but they're like 100 feet long, and just like and he slams them down, and like flame spikes come out the ground, and he's just got like a huge range, and it's super annoying. But once I beat him, I'm on to the last chapter. But then I'm gonna have to like fight
another big dickhead.
Yeah, and it's like the second toughest boss in the game is the last boss of the game, which like of course. So I think it's gonna be I'm gonna somehow beat this guy, and then I'm gonna get through all the other bosses to get to the final fight, and then just go. You know what? I'll just watch a YouTube video or something. Like fuck this game. I'm not gonna spend hours trying to beat this guy.
After 3 hours and 100 tries, it's okay to just say fuck it.
Yeah, it's just dropping 60 or 70. I don't remember what I spent on. I think it was 60. It's just like it just feels like I need to finish it. But
for a digital copy, that pisses me off.
Yeah, I don't like the way this world is.
I refuse to do that. It would have to be Last of Us 3 for me to buy a digital only, no physical copy.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. I need that physical.
Yeah, they don't want you to own things anymore. It's a real bummer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did watch on Dropout. We're big fans of Dropout on this podcast. Dropout came out with a new show called Gastronauts. It's their comedic take on a cooking show. The host is a woman who I don't think I've seen before on the among the group. So I don't know if she has some sort of like culinary background or anything, or if she's just like, oh, it's a funny girl, or this was her pitch, and they're like,
she's a comedian. They've been
you can host
coaching.
Big fan of cooking shows, whatever it is. But in the first episode, it's Brennan, Izzy, and oh god, what's his name? Oscar.
Okay.
And it's really funny.
What's the premise?
So the premise is basically these comedians come up with. There's 3 chefs, and they'll do 3 rounds, or at least however many judges there are, I guess. They'll be like, okay, this is Brennan's challenge, and Brennan's challenge was make me the heaviest meal possible,
like physically heavy, not like it's weighted in my stomach because it's so rich. It like physically heavy,
both physically heavy. Like I want a lot of food, but I mean, it's not like make stuff a watermelon with like steak or anything like that. Okay. It's like they're not trying to make 60 pounds worth of food or anything like that. They're just like
dense.
Just make me a dense dish that is just heavy because I want a heavy meal. Izzy's was make something. Like I want butter, like just like bread and butter.
Okay.
Like make it as buttery
bougie as you can.
Whatever. And then Oscar was the only one who kind of did like a silly one, which is like I want to play with my food. I want an action figure that I can eat.
Oh, okay. Now, are each of them different courses? Like Brennan's the meal.
No, like they can make whatever they want as long as it fits in the parameters. So, like if the first round they said, "Hey, make me the heaviest meal," and somebody made ice cream, and someone made pasta.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's just your take on that thing. I'll say that if you're like a chef or like want to learn how to cook, at least from the first episode, it's not a whole lot of like cooking techniques. They talk a little bit about it, but mainly it's just like the comedians kind of doing bits, and they talk directly to the gastronauts, and they're like, "How you doing out there?" And blah 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 blah. Or there's one part where
are the gastronauts the chefs or the judges?
I believe the chefs are the gastronauts.
Okay.
Like the set for the comedians is like a kind of like a spaceship thing.
Okay.
I think maybe they're kind of like mission control.
Okay.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's a loose space theme. But at one point, there's like the cameraman is focusing on this like one kind of handsome chef, and it's just like this funny angle of like low. It's just like, oh, everyone looks good from that angle, and they're just like, other camera people, get real low and make the other people look good too. And so it's just like that kind of stupid silliness. So it's a fun cooking show, but it's definitely not like it's not designed for chefs or people who want to learn to cook. It's just, oh, do you like these comedians? Well, here's them eating food.
What's the prize?
The prize is trophy.
Okay, like all their shit.
Yeah, I don't think there's
Your
any.
prize is you get to be on a dropout show.
Yeah, there's no. I don't think, at least maybe I missed it. There's no cash prize. It's just, oh, here's a trophy. You're the gastronaut champion or whatever like
Okay.
that. So anyway, it was fun, enjoyable. It wasn't like some of their shows where it's just them constantly talking and doing bits and like not really focusing on the game or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. You get plenty of the cooking. It's just if you're looking for something like Master Chef or anything like that, you're not gonna learn how to cook. You're just gonna see like
Okay.
I think if you didn't like these like if this popped up on TBS or something,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like I'm not sure if it would be for everyone,
Okay.
but if you're a fan of these people, then I'd recommend it.
Okay. Now, I know I watched the trailer, and I think someone even says this prompt, but if you're on the show and you get to ask them, make me a blank, what would you have them do?
So, do I want? I mean, I feel like if I was on the show, the goal would be both funny, but also the selfish part of me would go, like, well, I want them to make something that I definitely want to eat.
Okay.
So part of me thinks, oh, I would have to go some sort of dessert or pie, ice cream thing.
But do you have a theme?
But do I have a theme?
Like, say, I want something from The Last of Us. Like, I want a Last of Us theme, so it's got to have mushrooms or something in it. Or, because, like, for me, I think I'd have two things. Either
Okay.
I want gruel. I want something that looks like prison food. Something that doesn't look all that appetizing, but
Is
would be a sci-fi equivalent of like, this is your... It's the food pyramid. It hits all your daily nutritional needs, but it's just kind of like in a pouch that you suck on in space, because you can't be shaking salt and mixing batter in space. Something that you could drink out of a pouch. But I want it to be good tasting, Or the second one is make something so disgusting looking. Something that if you were watching the Addams Family eat, the normal person who was invited to dinner would be like, ooh, they eat this stuff? Something that's just horrifying to look at, but it's delicious to eat.
Yeah, I've always, not always, I kind of just thought about it. But you know how they do those cooking or those cake shows where it's like, is it cake or whatever?
Yeah.
And it just looks super real. Like, imagine someone gives you a plate and it just looks like a turd.
Okay.
It's just a realistic looking turd. But they're like, it's cake.
Uh-huh.
And you can cut it open and see that it's cake. But in your mind, would you still go like, well, it still looks like I'm eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's the cutoff? Or is it like once you know 100% that it's cake, you just go, okay, I've totally disassociated with, I can eat this.
Yeah.
But
and I would like to have if I said I want it to look like a turd and it can't be cake. Make something turdish, a steak tartare or whatever. I want it to look like an actual turd, but don't make it cake, because that's easy to just you put some frosting on it, and if you're
I want to question it until it touches my tongue.
Exactly. Yeah, I want the consistency. I want how it breaks apart. You throw a peanut or a corn in there for good measure. Yeah, that's what I do. So I know, like, Grant says horny, and that's it.
Whatever that
just
is.
go with it. So I want more of that, like one word things. Give me something shiny. Well, how do you make shiny food that isn't just like a liquid? I want some more of that sort of creativity from it. So
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
There's only been one episode.
yeah. Okay. I'm not going to talk about The Apprentice because we already talked about it, but it's good. If you want to see how Donald Trump became the huge piece of shit that he is today, watch The Apprentice. And I hope in 20 years, once all the Russian stuff comes out and he's dead in the ground or in jail or whatever, we can do another one with an older Sebastian Stan and do the whole, like, start with The Apprentice TV show and then into his presidency and then trials and all that. Like, once we have all those
long
facts
ass movie.
out, yeah. You could have gaps between sequels. It's fine. Wizard of Oz and Return to Oz did it. That's cool. Bambi and Bambi 2 did it. It's cool. But it is a really good movie with really great performances. Sebastian Stan is excellent, and the guy playing Roy Cohn, I can't remember his name. He's from Succession. I never watched the show, so I don't know this guy. But also, they're both just very good.
I think Mark Strong. I
It's not
think.
Mark Strong.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Mark Strong is in The Penguin, who we'll talk about.
Oh, Jeremy Strong is who I'm thinking of.
Maybe it's
I
Jeremy
think it's
Strong.
Jeremy Strong. I'm getting the Strongs mixed up.
But all in all, it's good. Another movie,
Do you
since
think it's gonna like get Oscar nominations, or does it seem like that movie's like it's trying to, but it definitely won't?
it wants the awards, I think, but because of how polarizing this character is and he's still around, it's one thing to, do Johnny Cash when Johnny Cash is dead, but this guy may be our next president. So I don't see them nominating it at all, and it will be one of those, oh, they were so snubbed, and I think for actor he should definitely be up for it, but only if there was, like they do with the movies, and there's more than 5.
Yeah.
You could throw him in. He's like number 7,
Okay.
on the list. But there is a movie, because it's Halloween season, I do want to recommend. It's on Shudder, and it has the unfortunate name of Daddy's Head. I think they should have called it Daddy's Face. It would have worked a little bit better, because if you pull it up on Shudder and you see that title and you see the thumbnail, you're gonna skip it. If you don't read it, you're gonna look at that and go, "Well, that's stupid. What a terrible name." But it works.
I think I did watch the trailer for this. This is like their kid's dad dies, but then there's like something living in the walls or the air ducts or something.
So there's a woman, her husband dies, and she is the stepmom of this kid. His mom had died already, and so the dad remarried. They never really got along. They hadn't been married too long, and he dies in a car accident. And now, what does she do? Does she give him up and to go be a foster kid? But the dad was like an artist and left her this beautiful house, all this money. So it's kind of shitty for her to go, oh, thanks for your dad's money, kid. Now hit the brick. So she tries her best, but she's having trouble. She's drinking herself to sleep every night. And they're in the middle of nowhere, and they wake up and the dog's barking at something in the house. It looked like almost like an alien sack from Aliens, the egg sack. And they're like, what the fuck is that? And then it takes off, and it runs like it's a scampering wet dog or something in the house and jumps out a window.
Egg?
The egg, it like transforms almost. It's like it was huddled up in a ball.
Oh,
and then
okay.
it just like, and it's really thin, like a greyhound or something, and just runs out into the woods. They don't know what it is. It's some wild animal, whatever. And they are trying to investigate, and they see like a weird structure in the forest that looks man-made and looks like, the what's his name? The museum with all the curves. Not Edgar Wright, Jesus. It's a museum with extreme curves and stuff. I feel like such a moron not knowing what it's called, but it's made out of like sticks, and like, what the fuck is this? And then something comes and visits the boy in the middle of the night, and it's his dad. But it's like this weird black thing hiding in the shadows. Like, you really have to kind of squint and like, what am I looking at? And it's just in this weird voice, like, oh, I'm your daddy. Come talk to me, son. And it's in the air vents, and the woman's kind of like going nuts. She doesn't know what's going on. And it could be an alien. It could be a folk thing that lives in the woods, but it is a thing that is mimicking the dad. It is like kind of taken information from the house, and it only really could like transform the face. And so it hides in shadows, and all you see is like daddy's head poking out and going like, hi son, I'm in the air ducts. It's really creepy. I had a blast. I loved it. One of the better horror movies, because it's just unnerving and really beautifully shot. Good performances, especially by the mother. And the kid's like, Dad's not dead. He's here. And Daddy's like, hey, why don't you bring your mom out into the woods, and I'll take care of her, and then I'll take care of you. He's like, yeah, okay, well, I'll do that. I believe that my dead dad is living in this weird structure in the woods.
Yeah, I mean, does the kid Now, I can get behind the idea that in all these horror movies, the kid is just unquestioning, like not questioning anything because, like,
Yeah.
oh, well, that's my dad and he would never do me harm or whatever. But at any point, does the kid just go like, hey, Dad, how come like you just don't live in the house? Or
No.
like, it's just like, okay, sure, I'll do whatever you say.
Yep, because he's so traumatized from losing his mom and then his dad so close together. And now in his house is this woman that he's never liked. It's just it's trauma and what is family.
I get it.
Yeah.
Sounds sweet.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's on Shudder, so a lot of people aren't going to be able to see it, but whatever.
Maybe after we get done recording, you can show me the skeleton
Show some
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the last thing I want to do is just like watch something really fucking creepy before I fall asleep in your place. But
it's worth watching.
Yeah.
All right, last thing before we get to our main topic. Gotta talk about it. Sorry, Steve. Terrifier 3.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm open to hearing about Terrifier 3. I just have zero desire to watch torture porn.
Yeah, it's...
So where does it... First off, before you start describing gross scenes to me, where does this rank in the trilogy? And does this movie end in a way that makes you think, like, this is the end of this trilogy?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's like there's absolutely going to be another one of these.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're going to bleed this thing dry.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like every horror franchise.
I think I like this better than 2. It feels a little more focused, but I think they had a chance to really go into some backstory, and they do a little bit, but not enough. 2 is just so damn long, and thinking about the kills in 2, I can only really remember one of them, the bedroom scene.
Yeah.
And 1 is kind of a good smaller horror movie with one really terrifying, awful kill. I mean, there's bad stuff in it, but there's one that's really, really bad. So I think this one probably the best one. I don't know. They're all they're all. I'm gonna say they're all tied for first because they all bring something different.
But this one's set at Christmas time.
It's at Christmas time. Okay. Yeah, it's been a few years later. The heroine of the last one is trying to get over the loss of her mom and is staying with her aunt, uncle, and niece. And
so, sorry, because I've never seen any of these.
Not niece, cousin.
Ask questions. The final girl in the second one, is she the final girl in the first one?
No. The final girl in the first one ends up becoming like a vessel for the evil spirit that created Art the Clown. The lore is really stupid, and it's all over the place. She gets her like face all fucked up and then gets possessed by Art. Like she doesn't get a happy ending in the first one.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so it's actually Art, and I'll just call her Fuckface because I don't know her name, because her face, like she's missing one of her eyes and she's skeletal. It's a really great prosthetic. It's disgusting, but it looks really good. And so it's just, Art the Clown, he's back as always, and just starts killing people and discovers where she is and
so
goes
at this
after
point
her.
Is he kind of like a Pennywise in terms of like, oh, he shows up every day? Like, is the town aware of him?
They know that there's a rumor of a killer clown. A lot of people think she killed all these people because she was there for most of the deaths, or they're her friends and family, and so they think she went crazy. But there's a woman who's in college doing a podcast about true crime, and she believes in Art the Clown, but it's just a rumor. So it's Christmas time, and he's killing people.
Checks out.
There's some fun ones, like the intro. He kills a family at Christmas, and like you see a little kid's body chopped up. Like you don't see him getting chopped up. You hear the door closed, chop, chop, chop. Then you see all the pieces, and then the mom and dad get chopped up as well.
And is he putting their body parts in like Christmas boxes or?
Nope, he's just leaving
wrapping them.
There is a part at the end where he puts someone's head at the top of a Christmas tree. I think he's decorating it with like maybe intestines.
Okay.
There's not as much of the Christmas stuff as I thought. He does like kill a Santa and some bar patrons to get the suit. And then he goes to a mall and he's pretending to be Santa and all the kids are running up and the presents are just filled with bombs and they just blow up a bunch of kids.
He's just the Joker now?
Pretty much.
So, okay. Well, let me ask you this. So he kills the Santas or whatever to get the suit. Then he goes to the mall.
Yeah.
This Santa suit, covered in blood ice.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
no one's doing anything.
His face is still
white.
The same.
Yep, white and black.
And
terrible teeth. Yep.
And no one is going like, this is the scariest Santa I've ever seen. Maybe we don't do this.
Yeah, because the real Santa went on break, and so there's a bunch of people in line, and all the parents are just on their goddamn cell phones, not paying attention. So the kids run up to Art the Clown, and you would think they would go, "Oh, my kid just ran away from me. Let me look up to see where they're going." No, they don't. They eventually do look up and go, "This clown looks kind of weird," but then the bomb goes off pretty quick. Yeah, it's not handled very well. You just have to roll with it. Like, there's a scene later where our hero comes downstairs and sees her uncle is dead and tacked to a wall, and Art the Clown's in the house, and it feels like it's a dream sequence that she's gonna wake up, but she doesn't, and it's actually happening. And like, oh well, we didn't see the uncle get killed. Last we saw him going to pick up the brother, and then we cut to this. Wow, that it feels like there's a scene or two that got cut for it's already over 2 hours, so maybe it was for pacing, but it really fell off.
Yeah.
But you're not here for expertise filmmaking.
Sure.
You're here for the blood and guts. And I would say there's no one that outdoes the bedroom scene in 2, but the podcast girl and her boyfriend are like in a shower making out, and he just has a chainsaw. And there's something about being completely naked when you're defenseless like that that's even scarier. And I was telling my roommate, I think if I had shoes on, I'd feel okay. But having my exposed toes with someone with a chainsaw just makes me feel completely vulnerable. Like, I don't care if my dick's out or whatever. I'll fight back. I gotta have some shoes on, though. So he goes to town on her, like, of course, chainsaw to the boobs and just all over the place. But the thing that made me audibly gasp was he catches the guy right in the knee with the chainsaw, and then he tries to run away and step on it, and it snaps off, and it looks so real. And then he's lying on the ground crawling, and then he gets a chainsaw up the butt. Split him right up the middle. So
in twain.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. But yeah, there's going to be another one. Art, she has a magic sword that's supposed to kill Art. I know there's a magic sword in this.
What?
Because her dad made a deal or something. It's dumb. Don't worry about the lore. But her cousin gets like sucked into the portal to hell. So now she's got to go to hell to fight her or find her and fight Art again. It doesn't matter. Hey, if Jason can come back a million
times. So this movie
times,
ends with her like about to suit up to go to hell?
Pretty much.
Is that what it's leaning towards?
She falls in, the portal closes up. She was like holding, like she tries to hand her niece or her cousin the sword handle down, and she's holding onto the blade, and then so she slips and it slits her hands. So then she's standing there, her wounds heal up, and it's like dun 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 dun, getting ready. Like she doesn't like suit up, but it's like, I know what I got to do, and then it's over. Yeah. And then they sing a little Christmas carol about like Art the Clown gonna do all these horrible things to you. It's pretty funny. Good movie? No, not at all. But like fun? Absolutely. If this is your thing, you like the blood, you like the guts, and what makes it really fun is Art is just fun. You feel bad for everybody he kills, but he's so joyful while he does it, just laughing in your face silently and just pointing with his big dumb smile. It just makes it so much fun and kind of like okay to watch.
Brutally murdering and torturing people is okay, so long as you do it with a smile.
Yeah.
That's the lesson we learned from here. Interesting. Okay. Well, I am all for, depictions of hell. And the idea of this franchise, there's other franchises like Jason goes to hell,
Yeah.
or
And
Freddy
he never goes to hell until
or
the very
whatever it
end.
is.
Yeah.
You know, there's the idea of like, oh, well, these things are demons from the underworld. But I like the idea of like, you know what, we're gonna go to hell and kill this
Stop
guy
it
or
at the
rescue this
source.
person or
Yep.
whatever. I can dig that.
I think that's what it'll be. It'll just be Terrifier
And then,
for
I mean, that makes sense if it's
hell.
like all these horrible things like I'm doing. Maybe Art's like the C tier guy. Just like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like the bottom of the barrel demon thing that comes out and like I can kill people. But you just do the shit that they do in
Yeah,
hell.
my boss. Ooh.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah. So here's hoping. And the fact that this was in theaters is crazy. The first one, like the first time Art showed up was in All Hallows Eve. It was just like 3 or 4 shorts, Halloween shorts. And then, let's give him his own movie, Terrifier 1. Small little independent thing, no big theatrical release. Terrifier 2 comes out. It was like limited release, only in some theaters, only for one show or just this one weekend, but then it did so well they had to extend it, put it in more theaters, made a fuck ton of money, and like, this is viable. So having this in like the biggest auditorium in our theater is crazy to think of, but I'm all here for it.
So if you ever became a filmmaker, do you think this is the kind of movie you would make or want to make? Or
If I was a special effects artist, this is what I'd want to make, because what kind of crazy things can we do? What disgusting, horrible deaths can we make? If I'm actually trying to make a movie, I want a good story and I want rules and plot. I don't think I would make this. I may have a scene with some really cool deaths in it.
Yeah.
I like creative deaths. But I wouldn't try to go, well, how much more disgusting?
You would try and make like The Shining, for lack of a better choice, versus Terrifier.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. I want my zombies to rip apart people and be horrifying, but like I want a little more justification of why the zombies are there, and the people that are being eaten, I want you to care about them and not just be fodder for those zombies.
Yeah. Not just strangers trapped in the mall.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. I think.
Do we want to talk about?
Do you want to talk about Penguin? Because episode 4 was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. We haven't really. Have we been?
We didn't talk about 3. We talked about 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Or maybe we only talked about 1. I can't remember. But
I don't remember either.
Yeah. But
so, all right, Penguin. How do you feel up to this point with the show?
So far, every episode is like a 10 out of 10. Kills it.
Really?
Amazing. Every performance is great. I'm liking Victor more and more now that we got to see his backstory. Like him seeing his apartment getting washed out. That was amazing.
When I realized there was a flashback, I was like, oh shit, this is good.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine being on a rooftop and just seeing a tidal wave out of nowhere just take out your entire city block. Yep. That was a really great scene.
It really was.
Yeah.
And, Kristen Milotti, fucking killing it. I love that. In the comics, she's the hangman. She's a psychopath. She is a killer.
Oh, so she is from the comic.
She is.
Yes. Okay, I didn't realize
And she was called the hangman. And I like that they flip things on this. Just do something different. Because I bought in that she was actually a crazy person.
Yeah.
But no, she was a philanthropist. She was like a women's rights activist. She got framed by her own fucking father and her whole family and was put away in the most corrupt, horrible prison for 10 years. Like, that's good storytelling.
Yeah, that's good villain storytelling.
Yeah.
Good origin story.
You get total justification for everything that she has done. I'm a little confused. So at the end of that, she kills everyone. Mm-hmm. She releases gas into the house except for her little niece or cousin's kid. And they all get gassed except for the head boss. When in the timeline does that happen? Is that right when she came back? Was that after the whole penguin thing?
I might have missed it as well, but it seems to me we get all the backstory, and then so when she's in like the yellow dress and she's at the dinner, this is
modern, like back to modern time.
Oh yeah, because the whole point is they got attacked at the end of episode 3.
Yeah,
and then she hits her head and she calls the doctor. Yeah, when is that?
So, okay, yeah, that's what confused me, because when
It's gotta
when the
be-
doctor got her, I thought he was rescuing her from Arkham. But he was actually just taking her from the alleyway?
Yeah.
Okay. See, so I was confused, like, how did he get her out of Arkham? She just, what, he broke her out? Is like, she kills, what's her name, Magpie, and goes, I'm innocent. And then the, like, next scene, she's out. And like, oh, he broke her out? Now that makes more sense. Okay. So it's like she got out because it was her time?
Yeah.
Because her dad was dead, there was no reason to keep her in there anymore? You think they would have just killed her and be like, there's no one to pay us off anymore? Why would we release this person back into the world? Just kill her. So I'm a little confused.
Bad storytelling.
Yeah. Worst 3 out of 10 garbage show. So she comes back because we saw her with her cousin before be a little apprehensive on her return.
Yeah.
And then so this takes place after that. So she's just, I'm going to deal with all my family first, then I'll deal with Oz.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe so. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think we're just supposed to, like, the doctor saves her, and we don't know, I guess, the in-between of that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just, okay, I'm back at the house, I survived, I got cleaned up, and then comes in and kills everybody.
Okay. Because I figured if the whole family was killed, we would have heard about it earlier. You know, like Oz would have said, like, oh, did you hear? The Falcons, the whole family's gone except for so-and-so, the main guy.
Great impression, Ben. Kill it.
I'm this generation's Colin Farrell. God, I bet Colin Farrell's even younger than me. No, maybe?
No, Colin Farrell's got to be
I don't even want to look that up.
49, 52.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna say 52.
No, I don't think he's in his 50s. But okay, so that makes a bit more sense. And I'm surprised. I thought we would get at least a couple episodes of them working together, selling the drug, doing things. But the show just keeps you on your toes. You just don't know where it's going next. But I do think by the end of it all, like we said, Penguin's probably going to kill Victor to get out of a jam. Now I'm a little iffy on that one. I can see him keeping him around, but I think whatever happens, he's gonna get Sophia thrown back into Arkham. Instead of having her killed, she'll be put back in, because that would be the worst thing to happen.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. I mean, if Victor is like our Jesse Pinkman character, and Jesse Pinkman was supposed to die at the end of season 1.
But I can see them, like, why keep him around? He's not going to be in the Batman 2, so that would be... he's an easy character to kill.
Yeah, I mean, if it was one thing if he was kind of, like, street savvy and he had ambition to, be a crime boss or whatever, and so you might have this fun thing of, well, Penguin raises him and he takes off on his own.
Sure. I mean, he's doing okay. Like, when the cop pulled him over and he's like, what are you doing with all this money? What money? He's learning.
Yeah. There's a version of this where Victor betrays him and then rises in some way, but I just don't know if I see him being a boss. Like, I can see him living in the crime world and maybe doing some shady stuff with Penguin, but I don't know if I buy him going full Breaking Bad.
Yeah. And just to think, like, if he didn't go back, if he just would have left and got on that bus, Penguin would be dead, Sophia would be dead. You would still have the Falcons, but then it would just be back to Falcons and Maroney's going back at it. He really did change the tides.
Yeah, that kid's done. He's got to die.
Yeah, he probably will.
He's gonna pay for those sins. But yeah, Kristen Milotti, great episode for her.
Yeah,
definitely could see some Emmy consideration.
Anything else in the previous episodes you'd want to? They make the drug.
Nah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm not fully in love, but there's some good stuff here. But I want the Batman.
All right, let's get to our main topic then. Saturday night.
Let's do it.
You want to give us a synopsis, since you're the SNL guy, not me. I could give two shits. I saw a tweet earlier. It was like talking about Ariana Grande's episode, and it was like the bridesmaid sketch or something, and someone said, like, do Americans truly find this funny, or are you guys just being nice? And that's kind of how I feel with a lot of episodes of SNL is this isn't good. And we are just kind of humoring Lorne Michaels all these years. Like, you get to have your show for all this time. You get some bright spots once in a while. You get some great people who move out of SNL and become great actors in a bigger sense. You get some funny sketches, funny ideas, and it's like there's always little bits. Weekend Update's always relatively fun. There's rarely ever like probably a bad Weekend Update, right?
Yeah, I think they're the most consistent, I would say.
But there's some like apparently this Ariana Grande one was pretty good, like a pretty good episode. But you go 2 episodes back, their premiere, I hear that's a dog shit episode. So you never know. And I've been over it for a while. Yeah, I like Will Ferrell and all the back Sherry O'Terry days. Whatever happened to Sherry O'Terry? Why didn't she? She was like crazy manic just like Will Ferrell, but she never really got a career.
Well, I think it just kind of went to Molly Shannon. They were kind of
but even her, she doesn't have like a huge career. Like she's still around.
I mean, I think she has a huge career. She's just not a huge.
She's not a huge star. Sure, yeah.
She's been steady working. The other two, she was the mom.
But that's true. I mean,
and
yeah,
then she's on the new season of Only Murders in the Building.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she stays working.
But like, what happened to Sherry O'Terry? Like, did she not get roles because everybody just wanted her to play the cheerleader? Or did she take a step back because she had a kid? Did she have a disease? Steve, you're my SNL guy. What happened to Sherry O'Terry?
SNL. I'm not an SNL historian.
All right.
Did you know Robert Downey Jr. was a cast member in SNL? Anyway.
All right, give us a rundown. What is?
I mean, you kind of gave us one at the opening of it.
I know, but this is
the year is 1975. Studio 8H, Rockefeller Center, New York City. Lorne Michaels has gathered a group of young comedians and have put them together to form a live show every Saturday night with sketches and musical guests and all sorts of. It's like a fun variety show. And he's got 90 minutes to put it on before the very first episode. And hilarity ensues. Everything that could go wrong does. And will or will they not launch this show that will lead them into the cultural zeitgeist? Or will it fail miserably and they'll all burn and never amount to anything? We'll find out soon.
In 90 minutes. So all in all, you like this movie a lot.
I did. I'm trying to think of like what other great films I saw this year, and I think I've seen some. I just can't think of them at the moment.
Like, would you give this an A?
I'd say A minus, because there's some things that nitpicks here and there, but I had a good time. I like that it was a tight 90. I mean,
90-ish.
90-ish, yeah. It was the movie kind of is played in real time. I think there's some real great performances and impressions of these real people who still exist.
That's the most. I don't want to say surprising, but that's the high mark of this movie is they really got everybody to do the very best impression they could without being parody.
Yeah, you watch Saturday Night Live, and a lot of these people get on Saturday Night Live because they're so good at impressions, but they never really do impressions of each other.
Yeah,
you don't. In all even when they leave, you don't get like a Will Ferrell impression. You don't get an Andy Samberg impression or anything like that.
I think the only one would be Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
people do Adam Sandler.
Yeah, Adam Sandler or what was what am I thinking of? I just had it and I lost it. Whatever. Anyway, I want to give a special shout out to Dylan O'Brien as Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
Holy shit! What a great voice impression he came up with. I wouldn't say he looks anything like Dan Aykroyd,
but you throw that mustache and the hair, it's pretty close.
I bought it. But the guy who plays Chevy Chase, I think, looks quite a bit like Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
And so that was good casting.
Yeah. You blew my mind when you said he played the Riddler on Gotham. And then
I couldn't tell if your text message back to me was sarcastic or not.
Well, when you first said like, oh, he played the Riddler, I was like, what are you talking about? No, that was Paul Dano, you idiot. And then it's like, oh, on Gotham. Oh, he was.
Once I saw who it was, I was like, oh, I didn't even watch Gotham, but I was like, I
I
remember
can
that
see it.
face.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can totally see it now. And damn. I always said about Gotham, everyone was the best actor for those roles. They're just all really bad actors.
Mm-hmm.
I take it back for him. He killed it as Chevy Chase.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's some great performances in it. I think Jason Reitman did a good job directing. I mean, it's very there's a lot of like quick camera movements to sort of you know up the intensity of the situation. At the beginning, it was like very jarring for me. I was like getting a little bit dizzy. But if you are, if anyone's familiar with the Bears kind of shooting style, it's very similar to that. So it's kind of this whole movie is kind of just a 90-minute episode of the Bear, but actually has some like genuine jokes in it because it's actually about comedians versus this drama show that passes itself off as a comedy show. But if you like the Bears sort of style, it kind of has that vibe of just like high intensity, fast camera movement, high stakes scenario.
Yeah, if you have anxiety, take some medication before you go in because the first 30 minutes is pretty anxiety inducing.
Yeah, I would say that the beginning is definitely the roughest because it's just kind of setting everything up and everything that can go wrong is going wrong. And obviously things continue to go wrong throughout the movie. But
and I think you're
they
also
kind of
trying to like figure who's that again? Oh, okay, so that's this person. You're trying to like just piece it all together, but they're moving at a breakneck speed that you're like, wait, let's settle on Billy Crystal for a second.
Yeah. And that's I think the thing that helps a lot for this movie is you and I know these people and know SNL, and I think you and I have some little bit of knowledge of like the past. And when I was growing up, my parents had a DVD of like the best of John Belushi. So I saw a lot of some of his older sketches, and I didn't realize. And when they did the very first SNL sketch at the end of the movie, I was like, oh yeah, I remember watching it. I didn't. It totally clicked in, and I was like, oh yeah, he did do the very first sketch. And I mean,
of all the sketches though, why start with that one? It's not that funny.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
especially seeing the board that they had with 1.5 million ideas.
Yeah, I wonder what some of the other ones.
And that pissed me off. Okay, so they have this board with all these ideas, and they're saying this is going to be over 3 hours long. You can't do it. You got to cut something. And like, oh, we don't know what to cut. Hey, take out half of it. Now you got next week's episode. You could practice a lot more. You don't have to write anything. Calm down. You've done like the work for you, but they're just freaking the fuck out.
Anywho. Yeah, I mean, I understand you want to put on the best show possible, and so you don't want to cut the wrong things, and maybe some things did well in dress, but they're going to bomb tonight, or you never know
all the time.
You never know what's going to work and what doesn't, and you especially don't know when it's the very first episode. You haven't really done this before, but
smoked brisket at Chipotle.
Well, let me ask you this: would you like to work in this environment?
See,
because that's the thing. It seems like such an anxiety-inducing thing to just like, oh, we have to change so many things. We're handing the actors pages like 20 minutes before they go live to remember these lines or whatever it is. But then another part of me is just like, well, it seems like everyone's still having a good time.
Yeah, like I don't want to be Lorne Michaels.
Oh no, it seems like a nightmare.
But if I'm the wardrobe person, like I just got to focus on wardrobe. I don't have to worry about the lighting. None of that matters to me. I'm the wardrobe person.
Yeah. But so if you're a wardrobe person who's like, we go live in 30 minutes and we need to figure out how to do a quick change, and it's just like you're just getting even though your job is I only have to focus on one thing. It's like, well, yeah, you have to focus on one thing, but I can change it at any time.
Yeah, I don't want to be the bricklayer guy. Fuck those.
Shout out to that bricklayer guy. I think he's the real MVP of this movie.
Oh yeah, doing this thing all by himself.
There's all these famous people and like all these high stakes things about putting on SNL, and a good chunk of the movie is just watching a guy lay bricks and go like, is anyone going to help this?
And all the Teamsters are like, oh nope, that's not part of our job. No, we don't want to ruffle any other team's feathers. I'm like, get off your fucking ass and do something. You see how bad everything is going? God, and then of course at the end, oh, we're the heroes. Oh, we come in and help you and get it in 10 seconds before we go on air. Fuck you. This could have been done and you could have all been relaxing.
This is New York, baby. You mess with one of us, you
God.
mess with all of us.
That was annoying. But whatever.
But yeah, I mean, I think it was like we need like a heartfelt moment in this movie. We don't really have one, so we'll give it to the bricklayer.
Okay.
But anyway, what else you got about this movie, Ben?
I've never been a fan of John Belushi.
Okay.
Now, that being said, I've never seen Blues Brothers. I know that's like, like sacrilegious or whatever, but I've never liked him. He just kind of irks me.
Okay.
And maybe some of it's because his brother is even worse.
Okay.
And I really dislike anything Jim Belushi does. So I just don't like that family. So him bitching about his contract and like he keeps talking like, he wants to be taken seriously, but he's a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
But he's refusing to do funny things. What does he want out of this?
Yeah, I think that's one of my complaints of the movie is they kind of make John Belushi kind of a enigma.
Yeah.
They don't spend a ton of time with him, and there's a part, where he kind of throws a fit and then leaves for a good chunk of the movie. And I mean, I guess you have this like kind of nice moment where Lorne Michaels reaches out to him.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like the big long scene where like someone makes an impassioned speech. It's just kind of like, hey man, we really appreciate it if you came back upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of it.
Yeah.
And the rest is history, and launches him to be a big star. But you don't really get enough of him to really care.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't let anyone get away with anything. Like everyone in this movie is like doing cocaine. Chevy Chase is kind of an asshole. John Belushi's a big old crybaby and like not participating in stuff. Dan Aykroyd seems like kind of a cool guy, but also kind of like a little bit of a womanizer.
Oh yeah, because he was sleeping with Lorne Michaels' wife at the time.
Yeah, and
do you know how long it was until Lorne finds out?
Well, no, I think at that time they were like the movie even like kind of sets it out. I think Lorne, in the context of the movie, knows that there's something going on. Like I think at this point they are separate. I did do research. I think I did do research
because like they have an issue about like what name she's gonna use.
Yeah,
and I didn't know if like that's because they're divorcing, so I don't want to have your name on this, or if it's more of I want to be an independent, writer, creator, and so I don't want your name for that reason. I was unclear on that.
Yeah, I did do a little bit of research on it, and I forget the exact dates. I want to say that the show premiered in like 75 and they started dating in like 76, I think, at least officially or something like that.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure
so they actually like were dating, not just hooking up.
I think, at least according to Wikipedia. I mean, by dating, I mean it could just be like, yeah, maybe they were hooking up, but they hooked up for a while.
Okay.
I don't even remember if they got married or it doesn't matter. But anywho, yeah, like only the women in this movie like really
look good.
Mm-hmm. I don't mean in terms of like physically. I mean, sure they do, but just they all just seem like sweet.
They're getting along with each other. There's no typical Hollywood woman cattiness where like, oh, you got 17 lines, I only got 14 lines, and then they hate each other and they're sabotaging each other. They're all just like, you're awesome. No, you're awesome, and I love you.
I think this movie could have been very much look at this boys club in the 70s, like all male writers. Chevy and John and Dan are like the big stars. Blah blah blah. I mean that's one of the other things. I was like, I kind of wish the women had more screen time.
Yeah.
But obviously,
you got a cast of 70, it's hard to do.
But I get why they didn't, just because, like, of all the people in this movie, you're going to focus on the ones who actually became big stars, which is Dan and Chevy. But even Garrett Morris, who's probably like the least famous of all of them, gets his own sort of arc in this movie. And being the only like black member of the cast, like it's good that he got some time to shine. Because obviously, I think a lot of people don't remember him, or remember him less than others. Like, once Eddie Murphy came on,
he was the black guy on SNL.
But I'm always happy to see Lamorne Morris. What's his last name?
James?
Jesus Christ. Anyway,
We're so good at
the
our
guy
job.
from New Girl, he's
Yeah.
great. And congratulations on your Emmy nomination.
Winston. He'll always be Winston in my heart.
But I didn't expect to see Milton Berle's big ass
old penis.
big old penis in this.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I said to you, there's only two things I know about Milton Berle is that he sang and he has a huge dick. And as a joke, I was gonna lean over to you and say something like, he has a really big penis. Just to be funny.
Yeah.
Because I figured you already knew that.
Nope.
And I think it would have been funny if I did that because they address it in the movie, and your reaction would have been fun and looking at me like, "How the fuck do you know those?" But that's he's just classic.
Ben's like, I spent a lot of time looking up celebrity
penises is my expertise.
Yeah, Steve knows SNL. I know I know celebrity big cocks.
It's I have a book coming out. It's called Hung Hollywood. It's going to be amazing. I have sketches and everything, testimonials.
Testimonials.
Oh! But you got to give it up to J.K. Simmons. Like, just, I don't know. He killed it in that role. I love when he's doing his other show. What was that called? Like Willy's Wacky Wonderland. It was something really dumb. The other show that's going on, and he steals like the lighting guy from it, and Milton Berle dancing with the people, and it's like a good 4-minute section of him just doing these stupid dances. And I turn to you like, who the fuck watched this shit back in the day? Like, this was entertainment.
Well, I mean, that brings us back to the Belushi sketches. Like, this is what they picked to be funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a very simple.
That was edgy comedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a simple joke.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all it is. They're not all going to be winners. It's just that sketch could have been anything, whether it was funny or not. Mm-hmm. But they have to show it because it's the first sketch.
Yeah, yeah. But I like little nods, like you see the land shark, puppet go by. I read that there was a box of colon blow in the background. That doesn't even happen until years later. But it's like little funny hidden things in there. I always like the idea of land shark. Just open the door and a shark eats you. I don't know. It's funny.
Let's see.
Any worse performances? Do you think like, not this person? Because I can't really think.
It's not that it was a bad performance. It was so. It kind of seemed weird that you had Finn Wolfhard in this movie.
Yeah,
it just seems like, and not that he's like some great actor or anything.
But he's one of the bigger names of this movie.
Yeah, like I know his name. I don't know the actor's name who plays Chevy Chase.
Yeah,
or Gilda Radner, or like. Most of the people in this movie are like, I don't know what the fuck his name is. But I know who Finn Wolfhard is.
Yep.
And he just plays a page.
That's probably why they had him there.
Yeah.
You put him in the trailer, put his name on the poster.
I guess, maybe.
Or maybe they just had a page, and when they were doing the research for this, like, this kid kind of looks like Finn Wolfhard. Do you think we could get him?
So I guess a performance I really liked is, I forget who the real person's name, but the head writer of SNL, like his back and forth with the censor lady.
Yeah.
Oh man,
he was good. I don't know of that person. Like, he's a head writer of SNL. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he went on to do, how long he was with the show. Maybe he could have written something like I'm very familiar with.
And he was in the first sketch.
And he was in the first sketch. Like, but in this movie, he's extremely funny.
Yeah. He's an asshole.
Yeah,
like everyone in this movie is kind of an asshole.
Yeah, he's the counterculture dude of I'm not going to listen to the man. And
yeah, he's dead. Like if you knew him in real life, you'd be like, this pretentious fuck. I hate this guy. But in the context of the movie, you're like, yeah, I'm behind this guy. Mm-hmm. Let's see what else. Willem Dafoe is kind of like the villain of the movie.
I highly doubt that they were down to the last second with him going like, and go to tape.
He's kind of the one who who kind of gives Lauren a pep talk in the beginning. Just like, hey man, whatever vision you want, go for it. But then at the end of the movie, it's just like, hey man, I'm going to shut this whole thing down. You all suck. I can't imagine like putting all this money into the show, even if because the movie posits like this show was created for the sole purpose of trying to fuck over Carson, and just going like, want the show to fail. It's just, but I just need Carson to like play ball.
Yeah.
But then just to like 5 minutes before air, go, hey guys, we're not gonna do
We're
this.
not going to do this. Yeah.
It's just like, dude, we
what was your plan?
we came all this way. Just if we fail, great. Just let us go to air.
Yeah, let us have one stupid episode, and then
then you can can us or whatever.
Yeah, it would have the same effect as you running reruns. That's all.
And I don't know anything about the time period because I wasn't born for another 15 years. But 1975, I know people stayed up late for Carson or whatever, but was there really a market to go, hey, we're going to put on a comedy show at 11:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And like, it wasn't like it was edgy, dark. I mean, maybe some of the stuff was, but was it really like, oh man, I got to stay up for SNL? I mean, I guess it has carried on for so long.
It must have been just like a new market thing where so many shows back in the, the 50s and 60s, it would just go to, this is the end of our broadcast. And they'd play an American flag and then a test pattern, and there would just be nothing on the channel. So probably as time went on, they saw there's still a market for something, even if it is just reruns or infomercials or whatever it is. If everything else is just that, why not us have something new and then people are going to tune in? I have no idea what their logic is, but made sense.
I've seen so many interviews with comedians who are, when I was growing up, I'd stay up late and watch Saturday Night Live. Like Saturday Night Live was my intro to comedy, but I don't think, my guess is no one really does that anymore because it's just like, well, I'm not going to stay up till 11:30 to watch SNL. I'm going to watch all the clips on YouTube in the morning.
Yep. We do things very differently now.
Yeah, and I know it's just, this is the age of the internet, but it's just interesting to think like, hey, kid who's never made a show before, or actually that's not true. In my research, Lorne Michaels actually did TV in Canada and then came to America and Dan Aykroyd and Gilda Radner were like comedians on his Canadian shows, and they came with him. So
I mean, John Candy, like so many. What's her face from Schitt's Creek and Home Alone? Like she's from Canada. Rick Moranis, like so many good comedians came out their little comedy group. I can't even remember what that's called. Had a
Second City?
That's
Second City, Chicago.
That's Chicago.
Somebody I think
it was something
was
like Channel 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? Whatever.
Anyway.
And then Lorne Michaels like did Kids in the Hall. They're all Canadian. You should borrow Kids in the Hall. I have all the seasons.
Some Kids in the Hall stuff with you.
I think you should watch all of Kids in the Hall. And it's like SNL. Not all of it's good. Some of it you'll say, what the fuck was that all about? Because it's of its time and maybe what they're referencing doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I don't know. There's something about like those five guys just being women in most sketches is just so funny. And I know it's a dumb trope of, oh, ha ha ha, a man in a dress.
Yeah.
But that's never really their joke is look at them. It's the how they are able to embody these women characters is astounding. They're so good, like believable in those roles. I don't know. You should watch Kids in the Hall, especially Kids in the Hall Brain Candy. I wish I had that movie. Every time I go to any sort of secondhand store that has it, I look for it because it's out of print. It's such a good movie. I love that movie. Anywho, we're not talking about Kids in the Hall. I'd love to see the Kids in the Hall version of this movie.
I'm sure you would. No one else would.
There's they still tour.
Sure.
They just had a TV show a couple years ago. Like they brought it back.
I'm sure it did real well.
They have their fan base.
So, what scene is my least favorite scene in the movie? Just because it seems
the skating
a little out of place. The ice skating scene. No, that was fine. There's a scene where Lorne Michaels' wife or ex-wife, or whatever their relationship is at the time, is talking to Dan Aykroyd, and he's just like, "Oh, does Lauren know about us?" Or their relationship is kind of undefined, and she gives like this info dump of Lorne Michaels' backstory, and it just felt real out of place. Just like, well, we need to throw this in here to clear some things up, but this is dialogue that doesn't feel natural in a movie where like everything else kind of does.
Yeah,
even though I'm not sure how natural any of this is because of just how silly everyone is all the time. But I felt like I was in a time capsule for most of it until this scene. I was like, okay, now I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a big fan of this scene.
Yeah, but I liked hearing it. I liked that
Yeah,
information of, kind of who he was as a kid.
because Lauren Michaels in this movie is our, for better or worse, like hero character who
Yeah.
we spend pretty much the entire 90 minutes with. We're not, he's the leader and the young upstart where everyone else is like, just the talent or the props department or whatever. So I get why we need to give him sort of like an origin story.
Yeah.
But there's a lot there that we don't get to see. And I think you could make a pretty interesting Lauren Michaels biopic.
Yeah, probably.
Even though it's like maybe life isn't filled with turmoil like Johnny Cash and
Sure.
maybe
Yeah.
I'm sure he probably did cocaine. I don't know Lauren Michaels' backstory, but
Uh-huh.
like it seems like everyone else at SNL was doing cocaine, so maybe he was too.
Yeah,
But
how much? What sort of interesting things can you tell about his life that isn't SNL? Probably not a whole lot. So you really can't.
yeah,
But we just don't. We don't know that.
yeah.
He could have had a heroin mother, and he was abused by his older brother, for all we know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you want a good like making of Saturday Night Live, you just watch 30 Rock and
Yeah. Yep, that's 100% exactly how it happened.
pretty much.
What was that other one with Matthew Perry?
Uh,
Something on the Sunset Strip.
yeah, was it Studio 6 on the Sunset Strip or something like that? Yeah.
And it's funny because that came out when 30 Rock came out, and like, oh, they have two shows about a late night TV show, and I backed the wrong one. I watched Sunset at Studio Strip, whatever the fuck it was called, just because I liked Friends, so I like Matthew Perry, and I'm like, let's
Sure.
see what else he's gonna do. And I don't remember anything from that episode, and I didn't love it, so I didn't watch more. Good, because it got canceled anyways. But I would have liked to see where that would have went, and then I just wrote off 30 Rock. I was like, whatever. I tried one. I'm not going to do the other. Idiot mistake. One of the best comedies of all time, and I went through it a couple years ago to make sure I watched every single episode because there was a bunch I hadn't seen, and I want to go through it again. It's too good. I love Jenna Maroney. I love Kenneth.
Yeah, there's. I haven't seen every episode. I think I've tried twice, and I always get to like the third or fourth season, and then I'll be like, "Oh, I'll take a break and come back to this," and then I just don't.
Yeah.
But as a big fan of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt,
Yeah.
and it has like the same exact humor, I would like to go back and watch 30 Rock. My favorite joke, at least that I can think of from 30 Rock, is. If someone's being mean to Tracy Morgan, and he's just like, if you don't stop being mean to me, I'm going to show you the back of my hand. And then it just says, so he wrote on the back of his hand, please be nice to me. Just a stupid joke, but I love that joke.
It's hard to pick a favorite joke from that show because the jokes come every 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And you're going to miss one. And I don't like, Dan Harmon has talked about what his favorite joke from 30 Rock is. Have you seen this?
Maybe. I don't remember it, though.
It's I remember watching it and dying laughing because of how layered it is. And it's Liz and Jenna doing improv. And it's like Sling Blade and Oprah on a date. And Liz says, like, I sure like these French fried potatoes. No, you don't, Oprah. It's just like, it's the rules of improv is always yes and her derailing it by saying no and then getting the character completely wrong. It's just so fucking funny. Hey, Kristen Milotti is in 30 Rock.
That's true.
She's in an episode or two. Yeah.
Is there anything else we want to say about... Oh, we have I think the actor's name is John Reese or John... Whatever. He plays George Carlin. He was on The Americans.
Oh, yeah.
Good Carlin impression?
Absolutely.
I could see... Oh, if you want to do a Carlin biopic, he could be a good choice.
Yep. Before I forget, because you just said the word, and I may have brought it up on the podcast before... And I see people talking about this movie, and they're calling it a biopic. And yes, I say biopic.
I do too.
But you know what's? It's not biopic.
We're not going to do this.
No, I'm not fighting for the other one, but it's biopic.
No, it's not.
And I think, as a society, we just gotta get over it and like the whole GIF and GIF thing. I don't care if the creator says it's a GIF. It's a GIF.
Yeah.
And I don't care if the dictionary
as an
says
American, I am
biopic.
dying on this hill.
It's not biopic. It doesn't make sense. It's biopic. But anywho.
Yeah, I don't know. And like as a spelling, pronunciation, proper grammar thing, like maybe it makes sense to be biopic, but biography, you know,
Pick. Moving picture.
biopic.
Yeah.
It's rom-com. You don't say
Rom-com.
or whatever. It's like, no. I know that doesn't make sense.
Rom-com, yeah.
But, yeah. Or ro-ma-com or whatever. It's rom-com. You just take two words and you're shortening them and putting them together. Biopic. Anyway.
But yeah, George Carlin. Good.
George Carlin. Didn't paint him in a great picture either. He came in, did cocaine. And well, actually, I did. I looked this up because George Carlin was the first host of SNL, but he did. I think he had such a bad time. He refused to be in any of the sketches from my research. So I think, just did the only part he participated in. He did some stand up. He wasn't in any of the sketches, and this was like a last minute thing. Like right before air, he was like, "I'm not fucking doing this shit." And so they were like, "All right, well we got to cut Carlin out of all the sketches." So I guess I think whoever he was supposed to play was just played by someone else.
Someone else. Oh, yeah. I wonder how he felt about that years later. As he got older, as he saw what the show became, did he regret it, or is it like, no, they really totally fucked me? And there's another his side of the story that we weren't shown. Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but I want to say because how in the movie Dan Aykroyd comes in, he's like, oh, he's got the cocaine lockjaw. It's like I think if my research is accurate, he did do a bunch of cocaine and was just like so, like basically just on a like angry cocaine bender. He's like, I'm not doing any of this shit. Yeah. So that's kind of why it was just I'm not sure if he was actually like angry with the cast or how the show was being ran or anything. It might have just been like, I've done too much cocaine. I can't do this.
I'm bugging out.
I can do the bits that I've practiced a million times. Like I know my material. I can't put on your material.
Did you ever go back and rewatch that first episode? Is it available anywhere? Because I know.
I guarantee you can find it.
Well, probably on YouTube, but like SNL is on Hulu. Is it on Hulu? Or did they take it off recently and put it on?
I know
Paramount
it was
Plus?
on Hulu and they took it off, but I'm not sure if it's back. I want to say I think it's just on Paramount.
Okay. But it's like, do they have every season? And
no,
every season, do they have every sketch? Because I could see even maybe some of the musicians being like, well, you can't play this because you don't have certain rights.
I mean, I don't know if they've changed it, but I remember there was a period when it was on Hulu when I was watching, because that was the thing me and my wife would do normally, was just like, oh, we got nothing to watch, we'll put on SNL, hopefully get some yucks. And there was definitely some sketches I saw on YouTube but didn't see on Hulu.
Okay.
I wonder why that is. And I don't know how that all works out, but yeah, you might not get everything, but they're out there.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite SNL sketch?
Of all time?
Of all time, yeah.
I mean, I'm more of I like
the
it when they
unaired Casey Kasem sketch.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things that I know we've played before of Will Ferrell playing like the old prospector. And they're getting ready for a big military thing. And he's just like,
Jenkins.
Yeah, cinnamon and honey or whatever he said. I like when they break because I can tell they're having fun.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the pre-tape stuff because you can edit it and make the jokes work. So a lot of their ads are always good. That would be something I'm set on. Like I always, as a kid, I loved Wayne's World, and mainly because of the movie, and so I liked watching them on there. But I never really stayed up for SNL.
Yeah, but I feel like just because it's been on 50 years, even if you didn't. I mean, I wasn't a kid who stayed up late to watch SNL, but I was a fan of SNL because my parents had DVDs of SNL
50
sketches.
Fucking years of how many episodes per season? Like it's
24 probably on average.
Yeah, and then how many sketches within an episode? Like it's a lot. So I personally don't have my favorite. No, okay. I'm sorry. What's yours?
I mean, there's probably sketches that have made me laugh harder, but I think my favorite sketch is
The posters one with
with Emma Stone.
with Emma Stone. I'll say that because that is like the one I've watched the
Thesis.
most. Yes. Or Big Dumb Hats with Amy Schumer. That one's pretty funny. I saw that recently.
Which one's Big
It's
Dumb
just
Hats?
like three women talking about like women who wear big dumb hats and they're like, it's stylish, it's cool, big dumb hats, and their hats keep getting bigger and bigger.
Okay.
It's really stupid, but it's funny. But I'd say the poster one, yeah, that's my favorite.
Living in a van down by the river.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That's probably my all-time. There was a period where I watched because I had the best of Chris Farley.
Okay.
And so I watched those sketches a million times.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had memorized that sketch word for word at one point when I was growing up because I'd watched it so many times, and I would like perform the bit in my house, like sometimes to people embarrassingly, and sometimes to myself.
Did you like stuff your shirt to be fatter, or did you just mimic it?
Mostly I just mimicked it, but just him standing, like adjusting his pants, and then just doing this weird little like elbow motion thing. It's just peak physical comedy, and that's a sketch where like everyone is breaking, and Chris Farley is one of my comedy icons. So I think that's probably, even if it's not the sketch that makes me laugh the hardest, it's the one I love the most.
Yeah. You hear Paul Walter Hauser is gonna play Chris Farley in a biopic?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was thinking of Cole Hauser. I was like, no way. That's the dumbest. How is that? But Paul Walter Hauser. It makes sense.
I think he also wanted to do like a wrestler. I can't remember which one, but he was like, "Nah, I'm trying to get into shape. If you want me to play this like big guy."
He could do Chris Farley one movie and then Vader another movie.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I think once they said like, yeah, we're gonna make a Chris Farley thing, it's like, okay, fine, I'll stay fat. Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, I would love a Chris Farley. I mean, I feel like I've watched documentaries about him, and like I
want to see him die.
Yeah. I mean, part of me like wants to see it because I just miss him so much. But the part of me is like, I don't want to see my favorite like happy person go down this dark road and like die in a hotel room.
Fucking biopics are like, he was at the top of the world until he was.
Yeah, it's gonna follow all the same beats as every other goddamn thing. But
Walk Hard did it. We don't need to do any more biopics for anyone, especially musicians. Walk Hard did it all.
Yeah,
did every single one of them. So we're done. Like the new Bob Dylan one. Like you couldn't have me more less anticipated for a movie. Like I don't know if you're gonna go see it. But I'm not seeing that shit. I hate Bob Dylan. I don't understand his music. I never got it. It's not for me. And that looks like such Oscar bait.
Yeah.
The Bruce Springsteen one with Jeremy Allen White, I'd be more interested in that.
I just need to see some trailers.
Yeah, I don't care about Bruce Springsteen either, but like...
Have they done a Prince one? Like, I could see Prince being interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, Prince would be good.
I see why they wouldn't do Michael. Michael's coming. And
it is. It's his like nephew playing him.
Oh yeah, I do remember seeing some stills.
So that's coming soon. Like we've had, I think Whitney's had it. I guess we gotta wait for like Mariah Carey to die.
Jesus.
And they could do, I don't know, Aaliyah. I bet there's some sort of Aaliyah movie out there.
Who knows? There may be some made-for-TV movies.
I mean, what will be coming up will be Diddy. Once all those court cases are done with, we're getting Diddy movies. Diddy movies about Diddy's diddling movies.
I mean, I made this joke before on here, but like, what do you think you would just call the movie? Like, did he do it? And like, because I can see the poster, just like the actor's face with some prosthetic makeup to kind of make him look more like Diddy, and then just like, did he do it? Yeah. Just like, oh, that's a fun play on words on the title, but it'd probably be like too fucking stupid. They're like, oh, this isn't a comedy. You would just call it Diddy or like.
But I can see
party or
in
something.
The movie, it's girls going like, no, Diddy, I don't want to do it. And like, you get down there and you suck those cocks. I don't want to do it, and then he just goes, do it, and it's cut to the title, Diddy. Do it. And so you think of it's like that's what he's telling people. He just bossed them around and he told people to do it. But then once you say it enough times, you go, "Oh, did he do it? Oh." Okay,
So
it's stupid.
stupid.
I know.
It's so stupid.
All right, let's wrap
Anyhow,
this up.
anything
Any
else
last
on?
words?
Yeah, I just really enjoyed this movie. I like
You
that.
said it would probably make your best of the year.
I believe it'll make my best of the year. Great performances that I didn't necessarily anticipate. If you're a fan of comedy, if you're a fan of SNL, if you're a fan of movies and just how shows are made, and having this little time capsule of the 70s and sort of like the crazy things they kind of got into on a daily basis, it's pretty. They don't really go deep into it, but it's just 90 minutes of real time. It was a fun movie going experience. Recommend it. A- for Steve.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't know about being on the top of my list. I got all my weird horror sex pervert things. So we'll see where it lands.
Did he do it? Ben did it. Ben, you were at those parties, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I was the lube guy. They had to come to me. I guarded all 1,000 bottles of those, and I had a very a good system in place of checking it out.
Now, did you go to Harlem to get the Cambodian breast milk?
No, they outsourced that.
Oh, okay.
Just being white, the breast milk people didn't trust me, so they got some love. But the lube, they trust the white guy with the lube.
Okay, got it. Makes sense.
All right, if you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPL Podcast at gmail.com. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and X. Did he do it? You let us know. Any other sort of biopics you want to see, time periods, comedy, musicians, whatever, hit us up. As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And keep consuming. I don't care if my dick's out or whatever. I'll fight back. I gotta have some shoes on though.